Okay guys, this is going to be a 1,256 mile review of my 2011 Kawasaki Vulcan Vaquero and a kind of a walk around, and I'm going to show you what I've done to the bike, what I'm currently doing to the bike, and what I will be doing to the bike in the future. So I purchased this bike used from the original owner. He'd already done some modifications to the bike, so I'm going to go over what he did to the bike, or had done to the bike. I don't believe he was very mechanically inclined. So I'm going to go over what the state the bike was in when I received it. So it had this windshield on it. I did not receive the factory windshield with the bike, so I have no review of the factory windshield, but I do really like this windshield. I'm 6'1". This windshield is about perfect for me. When I'm going down the road, if I stick my hand up above my helmet, when I get just above my helmet, I can feel the air. So if this windshield was any shorter, I would be getting buffeting for sure. Any taller, I'd be looking through the windshield. I do look over this windshield, okay? I added the Voyager trim strip to this, which I wrapped in matte black vinyl because I'm not a chrome fan, so I'm gonna de-chrome this bike. I added the vent here from a Honda Goldwing, okay? So being a full fairing bike with a windshield on it like this, on a very hot day, you don't get much, if any, air to your chest, particularly my neck. My neck would sweat going down the road. So I added this. This lets me open this up and direct some airflow right at my neck. So it doesn't give me a lot of airflow, but it's just enough. So I'm really happy with that. All I did was make a template, cut the hole, and install the unit. Now I used a 4.5 inch angle grinder as well as a die grinder to make the hole and shape the hole. And then I used a rotary tool like a Dremel with a sanding drum on it to go in and fine tune the profile to get this nice fit that you see here. This is not that difficult to do, but you have to be detail oriented. You need to take your time. You get one shot. If you screw up, the windshield's garbage. You can purchase a windshield just like this with this vent already installed in it. I forget who makes it. It's not cheap. That vent cost me $26 and a windshield I had, and like an hour and a half of my time. Okay, so he had already put these lights in here. I love these. I've turned them off at night, turned them on at night. There is a big difference on the light spread. I don't get a lot more throw distance, but the ditches are lit very well. The road directly in front of the bike is definitely lit better. So when it comes to seeing potholes, dead animals in the road, live animals on the side of the road, these lights make a massive difference, and they're worth every penny. And I get that some of you love that vent that was there from the factory on the Vaquero, and you think this looks horrible. And I completely get that. I really like the look of the vent. I don't mind the look of these lights. I will give up the look of that vent to get the light output from these. These are all going to get upgraded to LED later on. This little air horn guy here was added by the previous owner. Let's see if I can get a shot of who made it here. It'll focus. That thing's freaking loud. I really like it. It's loud. It works quite well. I'm actually going to be putting that on my other bike. One, either the same exact one or one just like it. That thing is phenomenal. When you hit your horn, people know you're hitting your horn, okay? He added these highway pegs, which I then adjusted for me because I'm obviously a different size than him. So I had to move these around a little bit in order to get them where I'm happy. He had, I believe he said he had the dealer add the luggage racks to the saddlebags, and he bought the factory Kawasaki removable quick release sissy bar. There's a little lock right here. I have the key for it, which is awesome because some guys, when you buy a used bike, you don't get that. So you unlock this, you pull this lever, you pull this lever right here, and this whole sissy bar, it unlocks here, and then you raise up and it just pulls out. This is notched right here, so it just pulls out. So you can just raise it up, pull it out, take it off the bike if you don't like the look. Absolutely awesome. Love it. He put Vance and Hines twin slash slip-ons on it. I'm not a fan of these. I don't like them. They're far too quiet. They're very bassy in their tone. They flow nice. Definitely outflow the stock exhaust system, no question. But I am not a fan of their very bassy tone, and I am not a fan of their volume level. Yes, they're louder than stock. No, they are not loud pipes. These are not neighbor haters. If you want to be able to ride through your neighborhood and not piss your neighbors off, buy these. Because will they hear you? Yes, they will hear you. These are loud enough they will hear you. Will they hear you grab 6th gear 1.5 miles away? No, they will not. Unless you are wide open throttle, they might still be able to hear you on a clear day on flat land. But under normal riding, I can ride out of my neighborhood and you cannot hear my bike once I'm about a block from my house. Now, I didn't like the twin slash look, so I pulled the baffles out and I cut the inner exhaust tip out. I just removed them. They're gone. I also removed the packing from the baffles in an attempt to get a more mid-bass tone out of the bike and in an attempt to make it louder, which it did make it louder. I did get a more mid-bass tone. It's still too deep. It's still too bassy. It's still too quiet. I have a Freedom Performance true dual exhaust system coming for this bike. I'm just not happy with that. Those are going to be for sale. My wife doesn't like them either, so I'm going to be getting her a Vaquero also. She absolutely loves this bike, so I'll be getting her a Vaquero. She's told me get rid of these. She doesn't want them. So those are going to be going up for sale. The previous owner also did some lights. So there's a switch in here, which is a really horrible place because half the time you burn yourself trying to turn this on. But you flip this little switch and here you go. The bike is lit up for nighttime riding. And I'm going to kill these lights so you can really get the effect. Okay, so you've got lights underneath the tanks. You've got lights here in the front. Okay, you've got lights back here, kind of lighting up behind the saddlebag a little bit, lighting up your shock. And then you've got some red ones back here. Now, the wiring on these and the way this is set up, these appear to all be RGB where you can actually maybe change the color of the lighting. Because if you look at the wiring here, there's some of the wiring for it. He didn't do a very good job with that. That does appear to be RGB wiring. However, I can't find the little controller box that's actually running this to be able to change anything on this. So I'm just rocking it the way it is. It doesn't look bad. So I'm probably going to change all that out myself to a different lighting kit as well. Let's see. What else did the previous owner put this horrible GPS on this bike? Okay. This Garmin GPS. Back in the day when this bike was brand new in 2011, that was state of the art. 10 years later, this is a horrible GPS. I hate this thing. It does not work well. It wouldn't work at all. Initially, I had to go buy a battery for it, which was like 14 bucks on Amazon. I put a battery in it. Now it works, but it is unreliable, very difficult to see. The screen is small. It's very unresponsive. It's very difficult to use. You cannot use it with gloves on, period. It will do everything but what you ask it to do. I'm just not happy with this thing. It is hardwired into the bike. That will be getting removed and replaced with a newer, larger unit that will be more centered, and I will be redoing my phone mount. I added this phone mount, which is made by Ram. These are fantastic mounts. I've had these on every bike I've ever owned. I've never had one drop my phone. If one of these things drops your phone, I don't know what the hell you did, because this thing is just super solid. So I did that. This here is for my GoPro mount. So I have a GoPro mount that an arm sticks up, puts a GoPro up here looking through the windshield for when I'm going to film riding. I'm just getting into that, so some of that's going to be going up on the channel here soon too. I have done a few test films, but have no edited footage yet, and none of that is actually ready to go up on the channel yet. I did these mirror extenders. I'm a big guy. I got broad shoulders. I was sick of this much of my mirror from here over. basically just being my shoulders. That sucked. So these got the mirrors up off the bars a little more, because I would also occasionally smack my hand on the bottom of the mirror. This got the mirror up high enough that I didn't do that, and it got it far enough over that they work perfectly now. I can see all around the bike, much better field of view, very good safety mod. So I did that too. I, being a big guy, did the Chuckster's Customs riser right here. So this little bit right here is a riser to bring the factory bars up and push them back a little bit. I like this and I hate this. Well-made product, and Chuckster's Customs is a great guy to deal with, great company. Don't be hesitant to buy any of his products. This is a very well-made product, and it is pretty well thought out. There's a downfall to it, and I wasn't made aware of this before I purchased it, and that is steering angle. As you see, I'm getting very close to the dash right there, okay? With the bars adjusted where I'm happy with them. And same thing when I go this way. I get very close to the dash. Now, I have a travel limiter installed that actually prevents the bars from turning as far as they can from the factory. Because if I could turn as far as I can from the factory right there, my handlebar would be all the way up in here, way up in this dash. Okay? So I've lost some steering ability. This isn't a big deal when you're riding the bike. By any means, it doesn't bother you at all when you're riding the bike, because you never turn the bars that far when you're out on the road. Where this sucks is trying to turn the bike around in a bar parking lot that's tight. Because now it often turns what could be a 3-point turn into a 4-point turn. And being that this is a big 900-pound cruiser with no reverse gear, pushing this bitch back an extra time sucks. So I'm not real thrilled about that. I think I'm going to end up just changing these bars out for something aftermarket, and then losing these risers here. And this isn't Chuckster's fault in any way. This is a design issue with the way the dash was built on this bike, and that if you look, that dash, it comes back a long ways. And really, I don't know why they did that. Kawasaki did not need to bring that dash that far out, in my opinion. It looks good. It looks nice. It does make the radio very sunk in. And so, especially with all the crap that I have here, reaching that radio is pretty much a no-go while you're riding at this point. So I only use the bar controls. So yeah, this is a well-made product. And if you're okay with limiting your steering angle travel here, so it's hard to get this to stay at full angle lock here, but that's what you have right there. I don't know how well you can. Let me try to get from above. So it's definitely limiting what the bike could do. It's not a huge limit. You're losing maybe 3 degrees of travel in each direction, 4 degrees of travel in each direction, but it does make turning the bike around in a parking lot kind of a pain in the butt. So that's basically everything that the original owner did to the bike. And then now I've added this charge port here. There is a indicator right here that when you power the bike on, so we'll turn the bike on. Now this charge port does not come on automatically with the ignition, which I do like and hate at the same time. You have to push this little button. If you forget, it doesn't work. However, it's pretty easy to tell whether it's on or not by just looking down and seeing, is it lit up? Is it telling you the bike's voltage? If it's not lit up telling you the bike's voltage, it's off. Push the button. There you go. And I've got this kind of hastily routed just to keep it out of the way and get it up to my phone. I did this quick one day when I needed to be able to charge my phone and ride. This is a temporary setup. This is actually all going to get removed, and this is going to be used only for powering something that may be in this glove box being charged. This is not going to get used in this fashion in the future. I'm going to be installing a different one of these inside the fairing and wiring all this in the fairing to clean up the look and to just get that out of sight more. And that one will be an instant on with the key. So right now this bike has 15,625 miles on it. and I'm averaging about 38 miles to the gallon since I've purchased it. I purchased it 1,256.1 miles ago. The bike rides fantastic. I really love this bike. You do need to do a few things to the bike to get it, fit to you, obviously. Some people can jump on it and ride and everything's comfortable. I needed to bring those bars up and back. I needed to adjust my highway pegs. This is a Voyager seat, which I have in a different video showing you how to convert to the Voyager seat. So with all of that done to the bike, I'm very happy with the bike. I'm very happy with how it rides. It's got pretty good performance. It's got great fuel economy. I have averaged 52 plus miles to the gallon at one time during a ride. So you can definitely get good fuel mileage if you need to. The saddlebags have ample storage. There's tons of videos of guys showing the saddlebags. They're easy to take off the bike if you need to take them off for service work. It's a very well thought out design. My only caveat that I complain about on these saddlebags is you can't forget to lock it. And you can't forget to lock it because you have to put the key in and turn the key to be able to open this. You can't unlock it, take the key out, and be able to open this. So these are always locked, which is nice, I guess, because you can't forget to lock them. But it does suck because if you just want to grab something and you've already got your key buried in your pocket, you've got to get your key out. You've got to stick the key into the saddlebag and unlock the saddlebag every single time you want to open it. So if you're riding with your partner and your partner wants to get something out of the saddlebag, you've got to give them your keys, or they have to have their own key. That's one thing I kind of like and kind of hate at the same time. Another modification that I've made, I've done the airbox delete on this side. It does have a big air kit on it. One other thing that the previous owner did was a battery tender connection. So let's talk about the big air kit, which I'm sure you guys have already saw and are wanting information on. So this is a modified big air kit for a Honda VTX 1800. Now, I'm working with Chuckster's Customs on this. This one right here is prototype version 1. We're going to be releasing prototype version 2. Or he's going to be releasing prototype version 2. I'm not making any money on this. I just wanted this for my bike, and he's kind of helping me out, and it's going to create a new product for him. So I've installed a K&N filter on it that did not come with the intake. It came with one of those weird little bullet-shaped filters, which I just didn't really like that much. So I went to this. So what he made was this piece back here, which bolts to the factory Kawasaki throttle body, and then allows this plate to bolt to it, which then allows the intake tube to bolt to that and filter. This works fantastic. This flows more air than the bike could ever need. Downfall, it is in the way of your leg a little bit. Now version 2 is going to be a little better. This plate right here is going away. This one's going to get just a little thicker, but this is going to go away. And the mount point for this is going to get moved forward slightly. So this is going to go forward and in slightly, which should give you just the clearance you need to be able to get your leg through here and not have your leg pushed up against this when you're riding or barely touching it. It's not by any means intrusive. I have no problems riding the bike with that there. It doesn't bother me at all. On this version, this wire right here is an extension of the air intake temp sensor, which is located down here in the backside of the intake. That's not a good location for it, and it does require you extend wiring. So that's one of the reasons that this is a prototype and we're going to move to a different version. The other thing is this plate right here requires some machining right there. That little corner has to be nipped out to clear this goofy connector. There's no way around that with the plate designed the way we've got it right now. So Chuckster's going to be working on redoing that plate design to make those changes. The air intake temp sensor is going to end up going right here in the top of this plate in a more factory-oriented location so that the factory wiring will reach it and you will not have to extend wiring. So that will make, I think, clean up the look a little bit, and it will definitely make the intake fit the bike better. Now, some of you guys are are going to probably say, oh, well, there's a speaker pod option right here that puts a 6.5-inch speaker right here. That'll never fit there. Yes, it will. Okay, so this filter is not the only option you can put on here. There's a K&N filter that's only about that long, which should still flow more than enough air to feed this bike. So you can use a shorter filter. And then if you look, there's quite a bit of space here. That pod is not that big. From what I can tell, it comes out to about right here. So I think the pod would actually still fit there even with this filter. But I do plan to get those pods, and I will be figuring out a filter option that does fit and not interfere with those pods. I will also be doing the, what is it? It's engineered adapters that replaces all this and lets you put a 6.5 here. I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be putting an amplifier and a signal processor in the fairing. I will not be putting any sound in the bags. I bought this bike because I wanted saddlebags for storage and to take longer trips with. So I have no plans to put any sound into the bag. I thought about possibly putting the speaker that goes here in the bag because it doesn't really take up much space, but I would then have to lose these, which would leave holes in my bags, and I don't think that that's going to work out for me. So these are going to stay. That way I'm going to be able to use these. I'm going to be able to tie luggage to them and whatnot. So that's something that I'm going to be doing, taking longer trips with this bike. So that's definitely something that I want to have the storage capacity there. I will be doing a license plate relocate and deleting this turn signal assembly, bringing the license plate up here, and doing turn signal assemblies. I'm not sure if I'm going to do something in the bag or right here like a lot of guys do. I haven't decided what I'm doing for turn signals assemblies yet, but I'm definitely deleting this. And I will be dechroming this bike, so this right here is going to be get done in black. These racks are going to get sent out in powder coated black. All of this is going to get powder coated black. This is the factory Kawasaki sissy bar. Like I said, I'm going to be deleting this portion of it right here. Just this. I'm going to be undoing these two bolts and these two bolts and taking this section off. I'm going to build a connector bar that's going to come up just like this. It's going to come up, I'm sorry, I'm suck at filming. It's going to come up right here, come across just like this, come back down. And then I'm going to do another bar that's going to come out from here, come across here, come around here. I'm going to weld a couple of mount tabs to that for bolts, and I am going to put a tour pack on this bike. That will also solve my wife's complaint of this sissy bar, while it looks awesome, does not give her any mid-back support. It's only very low back hip support, which she does not like. She wants this thing, up here more. So that will solve that issue at the same time. So that's a project that's going to get done. I don't know exactly when, but I'll be making a video on that as well. Overall, I've had to do just a little bit of work on this bike so far. I have had to adjust the throttle cables because I had a lot of throttle play in this bike when I first purchased it. I'm going to be doing a fluid bleed on all of the braking system. I'm going to be changing the coolant. I'll be doing an oil change on it here soon, and just going over the bike a little bit more. At the moment, I'm sure most of you have noticed in the video my slave cylinder hanging out. If you've seen my previous videos, I have a clutch problem at the moment that I am working on right now. I know what's wrong with the bike. I have the parts ordered. They'll be here in 2 days. I also have a new kickstand for the bike, which is right here. So this kickstand came off a Mean Streak. And if you look, it's longer. This bike leans way over when it's on its kickstand. I'm not happy with that. So this will be going on here very shortly. I got that off eBay for like $28 shipped. Not happy that it's chrome. That's going to get powder coated black. The crash bars are going to get powder coated black. The highway pegs are going to get changed out to black ones. The rear crash bar is going to get powder coated black. Like I said, I ordered the Freedom Performance exhaust. I ordered the blacked out edition. The levers, I'm going to have these powder coated black. I'm going to do a black bar. I'm going to be changing out to a black mirror. I'm not sure yet what to do with this. I'm not sure the chrome parts around the gauge. I want to black all these out, but I'm not 100% certain how I'm going to do that just yet. I don't know how they come apart or exactly what method I'm going to use. I'm open to suggestions. If you guys have done it or if you've got a suggestion on how to do it, post down below. I will be deleting the front turn signal stalks here. These are going to be gone. I'm going to be changing this out with an LED bar. So there'll be an LED bar here that has smaller turn signals on it that are LED, and it'll have an LED light strip all the way across it as well that is also a turn signal. These are going to get replaced with aftermarket LEDs as well as these. All this chrome crap's going to be gone. Sorry guys, I know some of you just love your chrome. I'm just not that guy. New grips, I'm going to be putting new grips on it. I'm going to be going with some heated grips. There are going to be no chrome on the grips. The only part of this bike I am not dechroming is right here. I am not pulling the valve covers off this thing and dechroming them. It's too much work. That little bit of chrome I can live with, but I'm just not going through that trouble. It's too much work. It's too time consuming. It's not going to happen. So I'm going to leave those chrome. These are going to get wrapped black. These little latches down here are kind of aluminum, polished aluminum. I'm leaving those the way they are because you don't really notice them. The gas cap's probably going to get left chrome. The ignition's probably going to get left chrome. And the main steering stem nut is probably going to get left chrome too because it's not that much chrome. I'll probably leave these locks alone as well as these locks just because, again, they're small, they're fiddly, they're kind of a pain in the butt to try to deal with. Yeah, you can sit there and paint them with nail polish, but you're going to scratch them constantly. You're always going to be touching them up. It's just not worth it to me. So this front wheel, this is my next mod. So doesn't look bad. Tire has okay tread left on it. This is a Commander 2. I don't know how well the video is going to show it, but the previous owner rode this with very low tire pressures. And I don't know how well you can see it, but the tire here and here is scalloped. Okay, I don't know how well the camera's picking that up, but this tire has scalloping on it. Cupping, if you want to call it cupping. So as a result, this thing does not inspire confidence when you lean this bike. You get a weird thud, 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 thud from the bike when you lean it. You can feel a mild vibration in the handlebars. It's okay straight up, but when you lean it over, you definitely feel it. So that is coming off. That is getting replaced. Some of you might have caught a glimpse of it in the video already. I have here a Harley Enforcer wheel. It's been powder coated gloss black. I replaced the bearings with new all balls bearings. I've put a red reflective strip on it. It has a brand new Michelin Commander 3, which does not suffer the cupping, scalloping problem that the Commander 2 did on these bikes, particularly if you run proper air pressure in it, which is around 40 pounds of air, by the way, not the factory 34 pounds of air that it calls for. That is way too low for that tire, and it will cup and scallop at those pressures. Brake rotors are in good condition. I picked that up used off Facebook Marketplace and then went through it and got it all set up and ready to go. I'm just waiting on the necessary tool to be able to pull that big sucker out of there, which I don't currently have, but it will be here in 2 days. The rear tire on this bike is also scalloped. I don't know how well you can see it. It's much worse. I guarantee you can see that. It is much worse than the front tire, and causes a pretty significant vibration when you lean the bike. But if you look at the tire, I am not afraid to lean this bike. I'm afraid to lean it far enough to completely eliminate that chicken strip because it just doesn't feel confidence inspiring. I have not drugged the boards on this thing yet. I will get there. These tires are preventing it. Again, I don't know if you've ever ridden a bike that has tires in this condition, but it's not fun to ride. When I purchased this bike, the the front tire had 18 pounds of air in it. The rear tire had 20. Okay. When I asked the owner about it, he said he ran the lower pressures for the more comfortable ride. It ruined the tires. Plain and simple. Ruined his tires. Yes, the bike definitely had a more plush ride there. Ruined the tires. He was also running the bike with no air in the air shocks. Now, he was a small guy, so I'm sure he could get away with that because he was maybe a $135 soaking wet. I am 285. I can't do that. I run 30 pounds of air in the shocks, and that's where the bike seems to be happy with my big butt on it. So I have a brand new Commander 3 for the rear as well. So while it's up here on the stand, tomorrow I will probably come out here and pull the whole back of the bike apart, get that tire off, go get that one changed out so that when I get this one on, I've got two brand new tires, and this cupped, messed up crap that's on my bike now will be gone, and I will be able to actually lean this thing over with confidence, because as it is right now, when you lean this bike, it just doesn't, it feels like the bike's going to get loose. It hasn't gotten loose, but it feels like it's going to get loose. It's just not confidence inspiring with these tires. When they were new, I'm sure they were great because I have these on my other bike, and I love the Commander 2s on my other bike, which is a 2006 Honda VTX 1300 Retro, which is on the channel. I'm sure you guys have seen the videos of that. If not, go check them out. There's only a couple. I'll put up some more here soon, though. And I love those tires. I've got like 10,000 miles on them, and they still look fantastic. There's no cupping. There's none of this crap. This is from running them with the wrong air pressures. Okay? Some of you may be wondering about this stand. This is just a wooden stand that I made. My jack fits in there nice and tight. And this wooden stand is currently holding all the way to the bike. The jack's just sitting under there. This wooden stand didn't cost me much to make, and I love having this thing around. I use it for more than just the bike. I have another one over there. I stand them up on end like that and use the two of them together as a mini portable workbench with a piece of plywood sometimes. As I'm sure you can tell, the top of this is all dirty from being used that way. And then I use them for this bike and my other bike, and it's great for when you got to work on it, like stuff like this. This is all screwed together and glued together, and this thing is solid. This bike does not move. Even this big 900-pound bike, that is more than enough wood to support the weight of this bike. Okay, I got this design from somebody else that was doing this with a road glide, and I just copied their design, and I've had these for a few years, like 5-6 years I've been using these things. No problems. You can't do an oil change on this bike while it's up here because the oil filter is literally like underneath this rail of it. So that sucks. But then this bike does sit up high enough off the ground. You really don't need to lift it. You can do an oil change with it sitting on the ground. Now my VTXs, no, you got to put them up on something. They don't do well sitting directly on the ground because they have a much lower frame to ground clearance than this bike, and that just doesn't work. So so that's my 2011 Vulcan Vaquero. I have to say, I was a little skeptical about this bike when I purchased it originally. You know, it's a bargain bagger, if you will. It's a great value. I was a little worried that the power wouldn't be there and that I just wouldn't be happy with such a big, heavy bike, but I'm a believer. This thing is phenomenal. I love this bike. It does have some shortcomings, but overall, would I buy this again? Absolutely, I would buy this again. I paid $7,400 for this bike 1,256 miles ago. I have had a clutch master cylinder failure on it. Other than that, I've had no actual mechanical failures of the bike. Keep in mind, this is a 2011 model. This bike is 10, almost 11 years old now, and it was not properly maintained fluid-wise. I guarantee you that nasty syrup-colored fluid I took out of that reservoir the other day was the original fluid that was put in this bike when it was new, and that fluid should be changed bi-yearly in my opinion, if not yearly. And it had never been done. And that was basically probably the cause of the problem, is that because it had never been done, over time, you get, just trash and debris into the system. And now the reservoir, the return port of the reservoir is partially or completely blocked. So the clutch can't be released properly anymore. And that is due to lack of maintenance. That isn't a fault of the bike. The bike did nothing wrong. The previous owner did. I had planned to change all these fluids out right when I got the bike, but I just hadn't had time. And honestly, this is my primary transportation at the moment. So it's harder to work on your bike when it's not your toy. When you have to ride it to work and you have to ride it to dinner and you have to ride it to run your errands and stuff like that, it is harder to work on your bike, and it's hard for it to be down for several days waiting on parts. But it is what it is. I normally drive a full-size Silverado. I sold my truck. The dealer was not able to secure the truck that I was planning to purchase in a dealer trade, and the other dealer decided to screw us, which kind of left me in limbo with no vehicle. So I had to order a new one, which now I'm going to have to wait three to 5 months to receive. So for the next 3 to 5 months, that is my daily driver. So it is what it is. So once I get this thing repaired, I will definitely be racking miles on this guy. I mentioned this is a seat off of a Voyager. This Voyager seat, if you've seen my other video, you'll know this is the optional factory gel seat. I really like this thing. This is super comfortable. I did this mostly for the wife originally because she just did not like this seat. That seat is very narrow for the passenger. It's not supportive. There's very little foam. It's very thin. She just did not like it. So I did this seat set up mostly for her. She doesn't ride on the back of my bike a lot. She usually rides that 2006 VTX. But on the occasions that she needs to ride on the back of the bike, it needs to be comfortable for her. So I did this for her, and the gel seat was what I was able to find a good deal on. So I grabbed it, and let me tell you, worth the money. I absolutely love that gel seat. It is far more comfortable than I expected it to be. Is it for everybody? No, probably not for everybody. I'm sure there's people out there that hate it. What they say, everybody's got a different butt. But I did a ride on this the other day before I had the clutch problem. I had over an hour on it. And after more than an hour, I had no numb bum, none of that, no monkey butt. Everything was good. I was very comfortable. I didn't have any hip pain or anything like that. I'm a big guy, so I do get hip pain, and I have knee problems as well. So riding a big bagger is probably not the best idea for a guy with knee problems, but I love the bike. So this seat wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. I would call that a mediocre seat at best. I would say that if you're bar hopping, great seat. If you're doing short local rides, great seat. If you're trying to ride this thing across the country, horrible seat. You will hate that seat. Don't use that seat for that. That seat sucks. Unless you weigh like 120 pounds, then you might actually like the seat. But for me, I'm a big guy. I'm 6'1". I'm 285 pounds. That seat is horrible. I hate it. I did buy a backrest for it, which is right here. It's made like Grasshopper Customs or something like that. So this guy just slides down into the seat like this. Hang on, I got it on backwards. Okay, there we go. That made the seat better for me because I have some lower back problems. So that gave me some support. Not the best backrest. There's no adjustability to it. It works. It's a backrest. It's cheap. That's about all I can say about it. Would I recommend it? If you got a budget and it's all you can afford, it's better than nothing. If you can afford to spend $350 on just a backrest, great. I didn't have that kind of money. But I guarantee you that $350 backrest is way better than this thing. But it doesn't look awful. It fits okay. It is what it is. It was a budget option. It worked. I'm going to be getting one for this seat option, though I'm going to spend a little more money on this one, and I'm going to get something that's adjustable where I can maybe change the lean angle or the distance, because this one seemed like it pushed me forward a little bit, and I didn't really like that. This seat does feel like it pushed me forward just a touch, but nothing unmanageable. I don't think it moved me up. I don't feel like I lost reach, but I do feel like I got pushed forward like half an inch. Now the seat is new. The guy I got it from bought it, didn't like it, removed it from his bike, put it up for sale. I grabbed it from him. So he said he literally put like 6 hours of ride time on it. So the seat is new. My understanding, it will break in a little bit. Once it breaks in, maybe I'll sit back a little further. But I had an Ultimate Big Boy on my last bike. That seat cost me a lot of money, something like $900 almost after tax and shipping. I'm about $300 into this seat with all of the parts necessary to install it on a Vaquero. See my other video for that. And for 1/3 the cost, this is 90 to 95% of the seat. My wife actually says that the pillion seat here is more comfortable on this than it was on my VTX 1800 with an Ultimate seat on it. So take that for what it's worth. And I really loved my Ultimate seat. I thought it was a fantastic seat. So, so that's where we're at. That's my Vaquero. Again, I really like this bike. I would definitely buy it again. It's not going anywhere. You're going to see it on the channel for a while. I'm going to keep doing mods to it, and as I do things to it, I will post up, I'll post up some how-to videos, and I will post up some review videos on parts, depending on what it is I'm actually doing to the bike. I may make a tutorial video or a how-to video, or I may not. It just depends on what I'm doing and whether or not I have anyone to help me film that day as well. So, all right, guys, keep the shiny side up and be safe.